Dennis, lead us in the flag salute.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the village board meeting on February 23rd. Hope everybody's got the heat up at home because it's supposed to be exceptionally cold. And welcome back, Michael Sorrentino. You're on a sheer boredom in your life?
Patchogue Metro Library asked me to do community vlogs again, so I'm doing a couple vlogs out of town now.
Awesome.
Good to see you. Okay, just a reminder, if there's an emergency, we know where the exits are out the back of the building. Go to your vehicle, please do not leave until you move your vehicle until so directed by emergency service personnel. This is a non-smoking building, so therefore if you must, take your dirty habit outside.
Yes, good evening, everyone. One approval tonight for the board meeting minutes of February 9th, 2015.
Motion to accept is presented.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any changes, additions, deletions? All in favor?
Aye.
And Village Treasurer Krawczyk is not with us this evening. He had a hip replacement last week.
I will do the treasurer's report. The bills for the period total $573,840.07. The top 5 bills: New York State Employee Health Insurance, monthly premium $116, $43.09. State Insurance Fund $51,374.16 for workers' comp premium. PSE&G Long Island $40,319.50 for various electric accounts. Ed Cork & Sons $26,270.99 for snow removal. And J.R. Hosemacher, $16,284.50 for the heating system at 380 Bay, as well as various other projects within the village. Top 5 total is $250, $292.24. If I can have approval, please.
Motion to accept is presented.
Motion. Second.
Any questions, additions? All in favor? Aye. So carried.
And we do have a budget adjustment this evening for the bid fund from unreserved surplus to the street decorations to purchase additional pole wreaths in the amount of $4,080, and from the Main Street grant reserve to the security camera work for $1,500. Can I have approval, please?
Motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
And the cash balances for the period are at the bottom. That's the meetings.
Okay, public hearings. Okay, at the last meeting we discussed quite extensively the issue of opening of Lake Street. Not Lake, on Lake Street, of the entrance from Jennings to New Village on the Lake Street side. Obviously, many concerns were raised by the residents on Jennings.
Thank you.
Bless you. Also by the residents of New Village. Their concerns about traffic, about the change of the, and someone's changed even the environment of what was, and their sense and their feeling about it. The issues are varied, and we even have a, do you have?
I do.
We even have some comments by one of the business owners adjacent to that we'll read into the record. Is there anybody here that has any other comment to that before we go any farther in terms of the board?
Yes.
Yeah, come on up.
Hi. My name is Garret Travis. This is my wife, Rachel.
Pleasure.
We live in New Village. Our apartment is actually south-facing. We look right down Havens Avenue
Okay.
and right down onto the area that's being proposed to be turned into a street. I feel like it's a safety issue. I think it's kind of become a de facto pedestrian way. A lot of the people who park in the lots on Jennings walk through there to get into town. Also, the residents who walk their dogs tend to walk through there a lot. It's also right next to, there's a courtyard, like a common area,
Yep.
that is, I think when the weather gets nicer, it's gonna be used more for like events and things like that. And I just think right next to that street is just not a good place for cars to be going by. Also, it's right on the main entrance to New Village is right there.
Yep.
So a lot of residents use that door, and then when our friends and family come to visit, that's where they're gonna be walking to. I just think it's, for pedestrians, I think that would be a better use for that space. Is there a reason why they wanna open that area?
Well, we'll read into the record one of the businesses, and part of it is just access into the parking area there. And because to get to that now, there's only one way in, which is off of Hagen's. Anybody to get there's got to go totally around the block, has to come through. And it would relieve a little bit of traffic off of Main Street, that intersection. So
Is there a reason for opening that rather than the entrance onto North Ocean instead?
The concern about the North Ocean one is that because there's a traffic light there, and somebody's coming down Oak Street and deciding, is the light going to turn or not going to turn? I could see them. How many times do we end up, all of us, at some point in time, starting to turn yellow, let me see if I can beat it.
Okay.
And beat the light going in. That would concern me just because of pedestrian traffic this way, going north-south on the sidewalk. And that's where that, and that'll be looked at also over time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other?
Is that it? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kemp, we've been waiting for you to get back from Peru. Welcome home, sir. Did you have a good trip?
Yes.
Very good, I'm glad you're here.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and board members. Regarding this Lake Street intersection, I'm very curious as to why this was not discussed when the entire project was being proposed and negotiated and renegotiated, and it went before the Suffolk County Planning Board, which Patchogue unanimously rejected. So I'm a little curious, why now, at this stage of the game, is all this coming around?
Because like most things that we do in life, everything's a work in progress. You're never sure what the total effect of whatever you do until it's in place. And we didn't know what the effect would be until it's in place. That's why one of the things we had looked at was the Oak Street. And we had many, many discussions about it. But the more I look at Oak Street now, because like I just said, the concern becomes, is somebody going to race down and try to beat the traffic light? You know, one of the recommendations that we have is that we only make it one way in. You don't make it two-way traffic in and out. Only so people can get in there and park, and then they're going to have to go out Havens to get out of there. But not so it comes back out specifically for the reason you talk about. Because I'm standing there looking at it, and I go over there quite often. I'm standing there looking at it saying, you know, somebody's stepping off the curb coming out of the main entrance of New Village. It'd be very dangerous. Somebody trying to, you know, scoot out of there. They come around a bend, they're not going to see somebody stepping off. So if you make that a pedestrian way and only let it come in, and then even, you know, you made the comment, you know, we work with the New Village people to find out how they're programming the space. And we can always block it off at that point in time. It's not that difficult to do, but on a general basis, allowing some traffic to get in, and then you're gonna have to go out Havens to get out. They're not gonna be able to come back that way. And I know, because one of my concerns, Mr. Kemp, is the traffic that would be released going back up Jennings and create the traffic up on your block. So by making it only in, as we look at it, and again, I've been in it a number of times, that's how I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, I'm curious, have you gotten any kind of traffic engineer's report or evaluation or anything?
Well, the initial evaluations and traffic reports were done on it, had it going both ways, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I believe Lake Street is quite a bit narrower than either Jennings Avenue or North Ocean Avenue.
Yeah.
And the intersection that you're
I
proposing...
don't know if you noticed though, but we did widen Lake Street. Lake Street was widened by about 18 inches.
18 inches.
Foot and a half. It was still widened specifically for the purpose of being able to get fire trucks and larger vehicles coming down the block.
Is Lake Street the same width as Jennings Avenue or North Ocean Avenue?
I don't
Do you
know.
know?
I don't know, but I also do know.
Could you find out?
The one thing we do know is that we can only park on one side of Lake Street. So if you take into account the fact that you can only park on the south side, you can't park on both sides, as you can on Jennings. You can park on both sides of Jennings, correct?
No. On the north side of Lake Street,
No, I'm talking Jennings Avenue.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
On the north side of Lake Street,
right.
on both sides, the east and the west.
Right, you cannot park.
Right, it's no parking on both sides. But on the
Exactly.
other side of Lake
You
Street,
can park.
so what do you propose about that?
Well, what do you expect me to propose?
No parking,
Why?
because the intersection is, the buildings are very close to the street, and parking cars on both sides of that driveway will create visibility problems.
It's only entrance going in, it's not coming out.
All right.
So what I don't know what you're not seeing.
I'm seeing a lot of things that should have been dealt with years ago, when this was all in negotiating and proposal
I'm looking at
stages.
this, we're looking at a single entrance in and out.
Right.
The issue of
Exactly.
parking, the issue of parking had always been on there, and it had always been part of it. Had always worked with the fire department to make sure the vehicles could make the turns. The biggest concern we have right now is at the corner of North Ocean and Lake. The reconfiguration of that, that does not work, and we found that out once it was in place. The engineer said you could make it, the traffic engineers, both our traffic engineers and theirs, but once it's in place, and you know as well as I do, you know, you're in construction, what looks like on the plans and what you end up doing sometimes is different, because the plans don't always match the reality. And that's what we're looking at, is the reality.
And the reality is that intersection is pretty much locked the way it is, because on the north side, you have 2 telephone poles on each side of Jennings Avenue. On the south side, you have the Tritech building. So that intersection, the corners are pretty much locked right where they are. I thought about it and I said, maybe you could make turn lanes, but the problem with that is that the southeast corner of Lake Street, excuse me, it would be the northeast corner. No, northwest corner. The northwest corner there is a very critical survey marker there that determines a tract of land that extends from Lake Street to Cedar Grove Street, and all the parcels of land on the west side of Jennings Avenue. That survey point is a key survey point for all lots north to Cedar Grove Street. So that marker cannot be moved.
Where is it, the sidewalk?
That's the interesting part about that. For years, I looked for that survey marker, and I could not find it. And finally, when Tritech started taking over that piece of property, I noticed that the curbing, not by the street, but north of the sidewalk, there's like a second curbing that was cut, and there was the survey marker point right there, buried under concrete for years. So that survey point is critical for all parcels of land for 1 block heading north. I thought maybe you could make right lane and a left lane, like a turning, like a radius on the north side. Now, I also feel that you should get a professional opinion from a traffic engineer, because somebody will run that intersection. Now, you spoke about the Oak Street and North Ocean Avenue and the light, and when you think about it, there are 3 lights in a row. When you get to Jennings Avenue, in front of my house, 1 block north, I have people going through a stop sign, they don't even slow down at all. So they blow that like nothing. You're gonna have people getting up to this intersection of Lake Street and Jennings Avenue, and they're gonna be going right on through that, and there's gonna be an accident, sure as, with no lights at all. I mean, at least at Oak Street, that was thought about, planned, and well executed, in my opinion. But this intersection, the developer, he planned for that to be right in line with Jennings Avenue.
We were part of that plan.
And the village of Patchogue had to be well aware of that.
Absolutely.
But you did not take any traffic study at the time, and that's not...
There were traffic studies done all along, multiple traffic studies done. But as I said at the very beginning, everything that you do is a work in progress. You see it differently once it's in place, and you know that. That, you know, every set of plans, anything you've ever built, everything you've ever done, when it comes to this kind of, it changes. Once it's in place, what you think would be a simple solution isn't always the simplest solution. I'm here to take input as to what people believe we should do. But, you know, and I understand, that's one of the reasons we talk about, you know, access in but not egress out, because of the dangers that may come into place. You know, and I agree with you, Mr. Kemp.
All right, I also see the prospectus of delivery trucks wanting to deliver to the Brickhouse Brewery and other establishments as a potential avenue of traffic that is not so desirable. I have a lot of truck traffic on my street now.
You know, we could limit that also.
Well,
We could limit it to 10,000 pounds. Put a weight limit on it.
well, yeah, I
Mr.
think...
Kemp, how was it before New Village? Because before New Village, you still had Hayden's Avenue, plus you had an exit out of the parking lot there.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, and I will address that. When you had Hayden's Avenue, and let's say you were headed north, from Main Street headed north, and you got up to Lake Street, you had to stop. You had to stop, because you had to look both ways before you dare even pull out onto Lake Street. So it was just by the fact of the way that it was constructed. You had to stop and you had to look both ways. So in a way, a traffic engineer would be able to address this better than me. But in my opinion, it was a lot safer. When you have a four-way intersection, it's a lot easier just to run the intersection. And when you don't have a light, it's even worse, in my opinion.
Well, there'll be a stop sign there.
There'll be a stop sign. I mean, it's...
A light. Is there any consideration for that?
There hasn't been a discussion, but it can be considered.
Excuse me, I didn't...
No, there hadn't been a discussion about that, no.
Well, you put it on Oak Street, so I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be on this proposed intersection. And I also think it should be of the safety type that allows emergency vehicles, you know, quicker access. So I would have been here at the first hearing in January, and I was very shocked that you held the meeting, even though you declared a state of emergency. I was kind of shocked, but...
Well, that's why we held it over to open it up again. And when Ms. Seal said that you would be back, we actually held it for you to be here to make your comments.
All right, well, I think that there's...
So don't be shocked.
I think there's a lot of questions that should be answered on a professional level. I think maybe a traffic engineer might be able to address it better than me.
Thank you.
Okay?
Dennis, you had?
Oh, I'm sorry. I go first. Okay, I can wait. I apologize. Sorry. Hi, I'm Murray, 43 Jennings Ave.
Are you the?
I'm probably thank you for your careful consideration of this problem. I appreciate that. I know no solution is going to be perfect, but one thing I would consider, ask you guys to consider and keep thinking about is down the road as that fills up, the apartments, as you add, as that retail downstairs, and that's the correct terminology, starts to fill up, what's going to happen then with the traffic flow? I would ask you to consider the speed limit on Jennings Avenue. Can they lower that in certain places?
Was it 30 now?
25, 30?
In the village is lower than 30.
It's not, I think it might be, but
We'll check.
right, and anything that you can, I know you can't control what everyone does, how everyone thinks, but anything that you can do to slow down the flow of the cars would be greatly appreciated. And also, just something I've noticed is around 5 o'clock-ish, when people are getting off work. I'm usually at work before most people leave for work, early bird, but I've noticed when I'm home a little early that it gets very busy on Jennings Avenue, traffic heading north. So I don't know where all the cars are coming from. It's a little heavier than what it used to be, but I do have a concern once those apartments fill up. And yet my other concern is it seems that the type of age group that age one, so I'm not being critical, I'm just being factual. They tend to drive a little faster and not be as cautious. And there's 3 or 4 bus stops.
Yep.
And without counting, there's a lot of children. So while I know Patchogue is growing, and that's a great thing, that just those things be kept in the back of your heads as we move forward. You might make one plan now and have to change it, I get that.
Yeah.
This is where we're at, but just keep that in.
Well, that was the biggest concern about cars heading back north again, out of there, is to kind of limit that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're not allowed to leave, that's not going to change the amount of cars that are coming out of that parking lot.
No.
I'm not saying that correctly, but that's just a concern, because as that gets built up, and hopefully it does, it has to, we're in a lot of trouble. I'll be honest, but if we can just keep that in our back of our heads, and so I might be back again saying it's too much traffic, but I appreciate it. I know it's not an easy decision. I know you're trying to
Yeah, you gotta balance it all.
Balance it all off. And, I agree with you. All our plans work the way you expect them to. Thank you.
Mr. Marty, thanks very much. Dennis, Dr. Ross.
Garret Travis again. I think something that would help this situation entirely would be the speed, not the bumps, but like you see in the city, the speed humps that are 12 feet. Speed bumpers are timed at 30 miles an hour. You can blow it right over it, never feel it. I don't know if you know that or not. 12 degrees at 30 miles an hour. But a speed hump is its own beast. And anywhere in the city where they have a problem, that is the very first thing they do on any block where a parent or somebody saying they have an autistic child or whatever, they'll put a hump in the middle of that block. And that gets the attention of anybody going in there at any speed. The delivery trucks can't take them, the 10 and 8 wheel trucks, because of the 12-foot length, it rocks them and it'll dislodge their load. They'll avoid the blocks with the humps because of that reason, which would help with the deliveries. But the humps would create, hopefully a reasonable solution for a lot of the people involved in that. If you look into, I'm sure some of you have to work in the city and know those.
I'm pretty sure there's one of those, when you go into there.
Correct. It crowns.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I thought that was more of a drainage and water control than it was a
I think it's a little
speed
bit both.
deterrent, but
But I think that, interesting on Jennings Avenue,
in the middle of Jennings Avenue, I think that would solve 90% of the complaints on Jennings Avenue, is that hump right in the middle of that block. No one's
Your
gonna want
address,
it.
Mr. Murray?
What's that?
What's your address?
43 Jennings Ave?
About
Yeah, like I said, 90%. But a speed bump is at 30 miles an hour and 12 degrees, you can go right over it. That's for the police to go over them in pursuit. But a hump doesn't have that window.
Because you're up.
Yeah, it go, and yeah, like I said, the length of it, it dislodges trucks, loads.
It wouldn't affect the fire truck?
No, doesn't in the city. And I see them hit those things at some speeds.
We don't lose any firemen up there.
And like I said, on Jennings, they're gonna be at 12 to 15, 18 miles an hour by the time they hit that thing, because if you put it on Jennings, because that's where they're originating. You know what I mean? They're not coming from someplace else unless it's Sagamore assisting, but that, I don't know. You know, like I said, in your study, that'd be the only thing I could weigh as a happy medium to help everybody. Because those things, you'll have
Dennis, what are they made of?
asphalt.
So they're built into the street?
raised piece of roadway.
It's 9 inches by 12 foot,
Okay,
and
so 9 inches tall.
yeah,
Hey, Joe.
I'll take 2.
yeah,
You know, I like one in front of my house on.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it down now.
yeah. It's just asphalt rolled in. They put one of them on a road we deal with down in the tennis center. They put it up today on us. So I mean, it's not.
In this
yeah,
weather?
in this weather. Well, it's become a cut through, and so they just slowed the traffic down before the tennis center reopens. We're doing a revamp there. They're slowing traffic down at one of the roadways in there, and today they put it up because our trucks got hung up. Anyway, good luck.
Mr. Hoag.
Would you like a copy of your letter to read it in? We were about to read it in for you, by the way.
Yeah, I just made it back in the city. George Hoag, Brickhouse Brewery. My concern is parking. That lot is extremely tight lot. A large percentage of the time it's full, and when it is, you arrive at that lot and find it full, you need an alternative. The alternative that was designed into the project is to have a lot. But if you limit access to that lot, if you close off northbound traffic, that lot is not usable to the people that are arriving in that area. So that's my concern. I think the project was designed with the Jennings Ave lot in mind to partially fulfill the parking needs that were required for the project. And now you're taking that piece of it away. So that's my concern. A possible alternative, if you didn't want to open the northbound traffic there, would be to open eastbound traffic to Oak Street, and then it would at least lessen the travel you had to make to Jennings Avenue. Rather than going all the way down to Spur, you could at least go a shorter distance.
Just open up for exit.
Yeah.
Exit.
Exit only.
Enter on the north, exit on the east. Also, what happens when you close Main Street? If there's no way to get out of that lot if you close off northbound from
Well, we dealt with that over the summer in terms of
yeah,
having somebody there.
temporary.
Yeah. The eastbound, there's traffic right there.
There's a light there. Do not enter, only outbound. That would relieve some of that.
Yeah.
No, we can hold. There's no rush to do anything, but
That's an interesting solution.
yeah, you know,
I'd still rather have the northbound.
No, but when somebody comes in, at least they know if they go out and they make the left, they come back around the corner.
Yeah, it's a shorter distance, and it's just
It's easy in your mind
yeah.
to figure out how to get there.
Or they go into Oak Street Block, too. As an alternative.
And what it does is the other thing that it does, it takes that traffic and it sends it down Oak Street out of town too. People that are leaving, you know, or to the North Ocean Avenue without coming back onto Main Street.
There's often a lot of traffic on Main Street.
Yeah, it becomes a relief off of Main Street.
Going into a light that was, was just designed for traffic, for light.
So if we're having a parade, how do you get out of that lot that you're talking about?
Well, if you're going to close off northbound access, you can't.
Trapped.
Well, it's
You
close.
can't.
It's close.
Unless, I think what they did last year was made, they opened it up temporarily. They opened up the Jennings Ave temporarily.
Oh, when we closed Main Street?
Yeah. But that's not the best solution.
And that would also spread that leaving traffic out.
Yeah.
Because not everybody would be leaving at that one point. Some would be leaving at
They're not
Oak Street,
going
some
to
would-
Main Street.
One would come down Havens.
Yeah.
And myself personally, if I'm in there, I'm going down Oak Street.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna go down Havens.
Yeah, that's what I would do too. I like the idea, actually. I've been over there looking at it, and I always thought that that would be the way out is Oak. Lights already there.
Got the traffic light already there. Got the ballots that are in, so nobody's gonna come in.
I think there's a bulb that faces west, but I'm not sure.
Is that?
Does the light actually face the building west?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a bulb that way?
So that's
I-
one of our next
I
points. You gotta
never-
see
I never
what
looked
the
at that.
approach is on the visual
On the
when you see
visual
it.
coming out, yeah.
But we could always put another light
Yeah,
inside.
Yeah, lower down.
yep, underneath,
Right.
3,
Yeah.
get a tall. Yep. That's true.
Good idea.
Any other questions?
Thank you for getting out here in time.
Yeah, I did my best. Thank you.
I appreciate your comments.
Thank you, sir.
Let somebody think.
Especially if we drop the light down. If we had a light in the tunnel.
You just have to see where it sits when you come up to it.
Right.
Wouldn't it be already?
I mean, because if it
What
was
was that?
designed with that intention,
Yeah, the
exactly.
intention was to have it as a working light, so I think.
This is closed, I really visually never
Right.
thought of it.
My only concern is somebody trying to beat it coming out
Coming the other way, yeah.
and somebody stepping off the
So you
curb.
almost have to get like a second light that's synced into it, so you see it on the approach.
Well, you need a light too for the pedestrians, because they're not gonna be looking up here if they're coming down the sidewalk. And people can come out. There's gotta be a red light for the do not walk.
Let's take a look at it. Motion to reserve decision?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Smith, are you here?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, trustees, Mr. Seal, Attorney Egan, ladies and gentlemen. Dennis Smith with the Business Improvement District report. I am happy to report tonight that after having spoken about security cameras for a long time, we now have 2 that are up and running. We have 2 that are operating at the theater. One is in the marquee. It can look up and down East Main Street, right to the 4 corners, right up to Maple, close across the street as well. And we have one on the rear of the building, which encompasses the whole Oak Street parking lot. And these cameras they're pretty remarkable when you really stop and start using them and start to look at them. We have it hooked up so that code enforcement has it on their computers. I know Peter Sarich has it on his. We don't have the full capability yet of accessing it remotely. We're going to get that this week. We're going to tweak them and fine tune them, so we have that going. But when you look at these and you start honing in on what you can actually see, I mean, you talk about reading license plates and seeing who's doing what, it's really quite remarkable. And I'm just happy that we're off and running. We got 2 going. Weather permitting, we're going to look to put the 4 corners up within the next week or so. And then I have a location in Church Street that I'm going to look into, so we can put 1 camera back there. And as I had stated previously, we're looking to locate the current Tri-Tech 4 corners one to Reese's 1900, so that we can look down Lake Street, pretty much at that entranceway to the village. But I'm happy that we have gotten that far.
Is that a pan?
That one's not good. That's not a PTZ.
That's just a straight-
stationary. It's just going to have 1 look.
Which
The
one
other
you
ones
got?
we have now.
The one that we're taking, the Tri-Tech had put up, that they're giving us, that we're gonna put on Reese's.
That's stationary. But the one that's going to replace the Tri-Tech one
Right.
is
There's a
it
PTZ.
goes all over the place.
It'll pan, tilt, and zoom.
Will that go all the way down South Ocean, come all the way around?
If we're successful in putting it where that Tri-Tech camera is now, and that's the reason why we wanted to try and put it there, you'll have a clear view down South Ocean, up North Ocean, and you'll be able to look down West Main Street with it as well. So, you know, you're gonna go better than 180. You're gonna have about a 270-degree look with that particular camera, which is nice. And again, it can do the same thing with the panning, the tilting, and the honing in and the zooming. So
It's good. It's,
Let me ask you a question, Dennis. If we wanted to, you take that camera
Try to take one or?
just at the Four Corners one,
Okay.
and have it so the public could access it from our website. So if somebody wanted to see what's happening on Main Street,
That'd be cool.
that they,
You could do it, but I think you'd have to limit the capability, because when you give somebody permission to access it, they can Zoom with it, they can...
no, just when you went to our website,
It would just be a stat, like, see
a
it, but
streaming
not with
video.
the
Just a stream.
capability.
As it's hitting the presets, because this
Yeah.
has presets that it's hitting,
Yeah.
unless somebody's in there manually making
right, and
it.
then they're gonna see whatever we're seeing at that point in
Okay.
time.
I don't see why not. I
It's
mean, that's
gonna be
something
so
I can
neat
find out this week.
For the public to have that ability on a
Take a
given
look.
night, or somebody wants to watch the Christmas parade from there.
I'll check it out. I'll call the people that we're dealing with tomorrow. I'm sure we can do it.
Just a single one, just that one there. And what did we talk about how to do it? That if there was an issue that we needed to shut it down, it could be shut down remotely if there's an issue that either the police or public safety or
Right.
for some other reason.
I'll check it out. I'm pretty certain we can, but I'll find out for sure this week. But again, it's good to be doing a little more than just talking about it. Well, they're up and running, and we've got more on the way. Just briefly, at the last time I spoke here 2 weeks ago, I mentioned the parking guide that Deputy Mayor Krieger, myself, and Lauren Monty were working on. We had another meeting about that last week. I think it's pretty close to being in its final stages, so once we get it there, then we can send it out to printing, have it available in the various retail establishments and restaurants, have them available here at Village Hall, have them available for the court, and we will have an electronic form too, so we can put it on the various websites that service the village. The last bid board meeting, the board members commissioned the ordering of 16 new Christmas wreaths, because if you remember this past year, we were a little light on North Ocean Avenue. We did East Main Street, we did West Main Street, we did Ocean Avenue, but we virtually had nothing going up North Ocean for the business district. So those 16 wreaths will be a good start to repopulating North Ocean with Christmas decorations. And again, we order them now because you get 1/3 off if you order them in January, February. The last thing I had the Suffolk County Downtown Revitalization meeting this afternoon before this one. And the round 13 grants are going to be available, the Suffolk County round grants. The applications will be available on April the 6th. They're due back on June 22nd. So again, those are projects that we've taken advantage of in the past. The road walkway was part of a round grant. I believe Gail was instrumental in writing that. The information signages, the black and whites, those were part of the round grant. So, good things can happen with them. But it's out there. They're going to be, again, available on April the 6th. Turnaround date on June 22nd. And be thinking about some projects. Unless there's any questions to me, that's all
Just
I have.
a couple of quick comments. First of all, I want to compliment you on the cameras. The image quality on the cameras is remarkable. I was sitting in a conference room the other day and they had the camera up. It was absolutely, totally clear. You could see everything. The other thing is, the bid has not a large budget. So I would like to see the village parking revenues pay for the pamphlet instead of the bid paying for the pamphlet. Whether it's $1,500 is 1% of the bid budget.
I thought we were anyway.
Just making sure.
Dennis and I discussed that
Okay.
at our last
Discussed it.
meeting, and
Okay.
I said that I don't think that would be a
Good.
problem.
Amen.
Thank you, Tom. Anything else?
Mr. Kennedy. My question is, David, is the band done warming up at the Brick House? Because it did not sound like music to me. George, they were a little loud.
They were loud.
The bangers and mash, yeah. They were.
I kept thinking they were warming up, and eventually they played something I recognized.
You're not Irish.
Yeah, we did notice that. That actually was the same band they use every year, Bangers and Mash, but they did seem to add a little more oomph than in previous years. And it's a good segue. First of all, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And I will segue off the mayor, and that yesterday was the official start of our St. Patrick's season here in Patchogue with our Passing of the Sash. Your building inspector, Peter Sarich, and his wife, Anne-Marie, are our Grand Marshal this year. So we ushered it in with a wonderful event yesterday. Thank the mayor and everybody who did make it down there. And part of the festivities, as you know, was the annual running of the Irish Soda Bread Contest. We did have 9 entries of various restaurants that participated, and Parabel won again. This is their second time of winning this contest. I think it's the first time they've had back-to-back. They were number 1. They were entry number 1.
Was good.
And that was, and the Brickhouse came in second. And I believe they were, I don't know if they were number 2 or number 8, I don't remember the entry number, but the Brickhouse came in second. So congratulations to Parabel, it was a great time. So next I'll lead, now we're all gearing out toward the parade. The parade is scheduled for Sunday, March the 22nd. The parade, of course, will begin with the annual running of the May the Road Rise to Meet Ye 5K, which will start at 10:55 on Sunday the 22nd, and the parade will follow immediately after that. I do also want to highlight that this week is our restaurant coupon week, is now running. So you still have an opportunity to purchase a coupon. You can do it online or just call the chamber office or visit our website at patchogue.com. And it's for a $10 purchase. You get a $20 value for any meal of $40 or more. And half the proceeds raised will be going to the local soup kitchens in town to help them out. So it's a great event for a great opportunity to try some new restaurants or visit an old favorite. It's good now until Thursday. This is when the promotion will be running, and you can still get your coupon online. Just want to highlight a couple of membership things that are coming up. Just tomorrow, we will have our monthly February general membership meeting. That will be taking place at 1 o'clock at Restigio's. We're very happy to have as our guest speaker our new town councilor, Neil Foley. Will be introducing himself to the membership, and we'll also have a presentation from PRMG about some public relations tips. Following this Thursday, we have a grand opening of Edward Jones Financial Services. They opened up an office on Main Street near Conference Associates there, just west of Burlington Coat Factory. The main person in that office there, Joe Bennett, has been a member for a couple of years. She's actually had her offices in East Northport, and for a good year plus, she was looking at every space available. She's working real hard to come to Patchogue, so she's really excited to be here in Patchogue. So I please invite everybody to come down and welcome her to a new office. That'll be this Thursday. The event itself actually goes from 3 to 7. You know, she's got a lot of clients coming in, and she is having an open house from 3 to 7. But the ribbon cutting itself, we're going to schedule for like 5:30. So we'd love to have everybody come down and join us for that. Only other thing I just want to mention too, I think everybody's aware that the town of Brookhaven, I don't know if this was going to be part of someone's report, but Ed Romaine is having a press conference at the Patchogue train station talking about bringing electric lines all the way out to Mastic Shirley, I think is what Ed Romaine is talking about. Certainly, I think, at the chamber, we are very excited about that. We did see Port Jefferson pass a sense resolution in support of that concept for theirs. We certainly encourage the village to do the same thing down here, just to bang that drum a little loudly. I think talking to the chamber leadership, a lot of focus is getting a second line on the main line. But when you really think about it, we have lines already set up with infrastructure that's underutilized in a lot of these train stations, Patchogue in particular, very underutilized station. Just a couple of weeks ago, I went to go see On the Ranger game, and I was heading to the train on Saturday. My friend insisted he wanted to go out of Ronkonkoma. I was driving around that parking lot for like 40 minutes, one spot. It's crazy. So I think if you made electric lines on these north and south shore lines, that would maybe alleviate, spread out some of that traffic a little bit, use a line, and it really can increase us as a community, a true community, make young people who do work in the city
a much more realistic commute and travel to the city.
How much time would that take off the
That's good. I mean, I think 10, 15 minutes is always what I heard. You would have to change, at Jamaica or Babylon. They may have some more direct routes into town. So I think there's a lot of advantages of it. I'm sure the supervisor will be speaking to those points tomorrow. 11:45 tomorrow at the Patchogue train station.
End of the train station.
So we're very excited about that. All right, and one last thing I wanted to do, I always want to end on a very positive note. I always like to recognize when some of our members are honored or recognized. This in particular is a special honor to us, and that the town of Brookhaven every year does the annual Outstanding Women of Brookhaven Awards. So we did nominate someone in the business category, and we're very happy the town did select our nominee, and she happens to be here today. That's Lori Belmonte, the Colony Shop. So congratulations, Lori. Unless anybody else has any questions for me, that concludes.
Jack and I had met with John Paragine the other day, and one of the things we really talked about parking issues as he saw them, but what he really talked about in essence was communication. Yeah, in fact, in my administrative meeting this morning, I talked to Dennis and I talked to Patty about it. What I'd like to do is if I could get from you a listing of just email addresses.
Mm-hmm.
So that whether it be a snow emergency, whether it's a parking issue, whether it's a change in something for that particular day, that we'll be able to email all your membership that information. Almost, you hear the thing on the radio, New York City parking, alternate side of the street parking is suspended. It goes out on the radio, everybody hears it. But our ability then to communicate with the business membership, letting them know if we make a change, especially when it comes to snow emergencies, when it comes to parking issues, those things that are going to affect them. If you get that list to Dennis.
Yep, Dennis called me about that this morning. I said, absolutely. I mean, certainly anytime I get something, we blast it out right away, but coming straight directly from the village, I'm all for that. So I'll work with that. Obviously, the list I'll be giving you is the greater Patchogue area. Some of it would be outside the village, but I have no problem with certainly sharing that email list with you.
And there'll be certain ones like the Crime Stoppers one, I think comes from me to you.
Right.
And then you place that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Which
the members love, by the way. We're getting a lot of positive feedback now. That's like the third one now that we've sent out, and members are very much appreciative that we're getting information out. And the first one that we did on that city swag, that led to an arrest.
Yes.
Thanks to that footage that got out there, they were able to find out who the guy was based on chatter that was created. And we were very thankful for that to happen.
Well, what concerned me with the second one is there was a picture and they said that.
Everybody knows I have very thick skull.
The other one was the picture. Some gentleman that was passing checks or using credit cards or whatever it was.
Exactly.
Some people have. But no, like I said, John's concern was, and it's when you live in an insular box, sometimes like Village Hall is, you think people know things, but they don't know things.
Right.
We make decisions, you make them in the box. If you don't get them out of the box and get them to the people that are most affected by it, that's where the issues can come. So that's great. And I'll work with Dennis and Patty.
And one of the things with regard to the meters and are they or aren't they, we just ordered covers. Are you going to talk about that, Jack? Okay, I'll let Jack talk about it.
Yeah. But I do appreciate, I know the winter and the cold has been challenging on the machines. Some of them have been working, but I know you guys are working on top of that. And I know you have some new programs I'm sure you'll be talking about later. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Have a good day. Okay.
Deputy Mayor Krieger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few things, and they are parking related. Just want to thank Dennis Smith and Laura Monty for the work they've been doing on the brochure. As Dennis said, it should be done shortly, and we'll have those distributed. Also, as Patty mentioned, we're going to be getting heavy-duty covers for the parking meters. So when there's a holiday or snow emergency, or we were considering things like the other day when it's the temperature goes below a certain number that we don't have, you don't have to pay in the meters. But in order for people to know that, we've got to do something. So we've ordered bags. I mean, these are heavy-duty vinyl bags that go over the meters, and what they'll do is the officers will put those on first thing in the morning, 6 a.m. or whatever, just so when people come, they don't have to be questioning whether you have to pay for parking. So that's
Say right on it.
it's going to say free parking today. That's it, and the village logo. So we'll be doing that. The meters in the parking lots are working, and the village is receiving revenue from them. There are some issues we've heard about some of the meters not working properly. Most of those things are taken care of. It's usually things like the paper runs out of the machine or simple things that our guys can fix. But we've had the company come out a couple times to just look at the machines and maintain them and take care of them. The machines now, just so everybody knows, the meters in the lots do not communicate with the meters on the street. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to come up with a system where they can. So if you park in a parking lot and you want to increase your time, you can pay at the meters on the street. Now, the issue with that right now is we're dealing with is it's a communication issue between the meters. Because the more information you force on these meters, the longer time it takes for them to communicate. So if somebody puts a quarter in on West Main Street and they take a walk to Parabel to eat and they want to up their money, now if they pay on another street meter, it takes about a minute, less than a minute, to communicate that message back to the system so the officers know that that's been paid for. If all these meters are on one communication network, it could take up to 6 minutes for your quarter to be registered. Okay? So we have to work out a system to decrease that time, because in that 6 minutes, you could get a ticket, even though you paid. So those are the issues we're dealing with. We're going to be changing some things as far as the street should be 2 hours. Soon. If it's not 2 hours already, it's supposed to be 2 hours. And there are other things. We're getting responses from people, and Mayor and I, as he said, met with John over at Parabel. And as I've always said, this is a very fluid process. We're seeing how things work and adjusting as we go along. So we'll keep you informed, and of course Linda is very good at putting that in the paper and letting people know. But again, I would have to say that I don't know, Patty, with you, but the complaint level seems to be, we haven't had any complaints. And when we put the meters in the street, we had totally different times, so we had a lot of complaints. So we're working on it, we're adjusting it to help. But now I have some positive stuff. The Village of Patchogue announces a spring amnesty for parking tickets. Linda, I'll give you this. Okay. This is from Patchogue Village Justice Patricia K. Romeo has announced the spring amnesty program for open parking tickets returnable to the Village Justice Court. The program will run from March 1st, 2015 through March 31st, 2015. During the period of March 1st, 2015 through March 31st, the original fine amount will be... Oh yeah, this one, of course. All right.
I'm sorry.
The original fine amount will be accepted in full satisfaction for open parking tickets. All late fees and penalties will be waived, so long as payment of the original fine amount is made during the amnesty period. Anyone with questions can contact the Justice Court Clerk at 475-2753, extension 2. So I urge anybody who has outstanding parking tickets that fines have run up, and if you leave those things go for a fairly long period of time, your fines can really start to climb. And a $25 parking ticket could turn into a $100 parking ticket in a very short period of time. So we urge anybody who has a parking ticket in a drawer, on your cork board, or stuffed in your glove compartment to get in with this program starting March 1st.
Everybody who has tickets will be getting letters home to them. So, in fact, we're going back, I think, to 2010.
Wow, it's great. So if you have an open parking ticket from 2010, that could be a mortgage payment.
But it'll, we have a company, FBC, and they will be sending it out, we'll do the collections and everything kind of, but
It usually is a very successful program. I think the last time we did it, it really worked out well, right?
Yep.
The town of Brookhaven uses, I think, the same company, and they do it as well. So please, if you know anybody, or if someone out there, I can't tell which one, but has an open parking ticket, please get it taken care of during the amnesty program. Now I've got really good news. When we first launched the parking meter program in Patchogue, we said the goal was to upgrade our parking system. And a lot of people were very skeptical about that. They said, the money's just going to go into some fund and you're going to pay for street paving and sidewalks and things like that. And we continually said, no, that's not where it's going. Well, we have made our first purchase. We are about to make our first purchase of a piece of property that will be used for more parking spaces. Okay, the property is the former Teller property on Church Street. So if you're familiar with that, it's Church Street in the Church Street lot. Do we know the size of that property?
No. 7,000 square feet.
7,000 square feet.
7,250.
7,000 square feet, which is our first step in expanding the Oak Street parking lot. Church Street parking lot. So I have a resolution here authorizing the purchase of the real property located at 15 Church Street, Patchogue, New York. You don't have to read any more of it. Just the amount. Just the amount is $94,000 for that piece of property.
Based on the appraisal.
Based on the appraisal. So this is our first step. We told you we were going to do this, and I'm happy to say that we're moving ahead with it. There are other properties we have on our radar that we're going to be looking at, and I would say that after a year of parking meters and the success of the meters allowed us to do this without taxpayer dollars. And the residents of the village of Patchogue aren't paying for this. We're paying for it solely from parking meter money. So I want to thank Attorney Egan for his work in doing this. And the mayor, of course, worked on this too. And it's really satisfying to see that the program is actually reaping some benefits to the merchants. And it's not the big step, but it's the first step. And it's just going to move on from there. And our program is very successful. And I'm happy to say that we're moving ahead at full speed. So motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Back at 7,560 square feet.
7,560 square feet. So it's a lot of, it's a few more spaces, and
how many spaces?
we haven't figured out yet. It's got to be the parking, that whole area, because there's the entrance and exit way there. That's going to be connected to it, and we have to reconfigure some things and figure it out.
Dumpsters behind it.
Yeah, we got all kinds of things. There's dumpsters there, and we have to move things around. But you know, it's a start.
And there'll be free spaces.
And there will be free spaces. They will not be metered. So you know, every little bit helps, and I look forward to working on other properties that we can do. So send that message out there, David, to everybody, and let them know that we're moving ahead.
And that should be, once we close on it, we'll do the demolition on it. Obviously, we're not going to put the blacktop and put the lot in place until springtime, it would be one of the first things we do in spring. And we will, it'll be reconfiguring that. And the other part about that becomes is that it's the beginning of the properties we need to acquire. You have to start someplace, so we'll start and work our way down the block.
Yeah, we felt that this was the one property that we could most easily acquire, so we went after that one, and hopefully the rest of them will come into play. And it's not just Church Street that we're looking at, we're looking at other places around the village too. So this is a start, and I think a very successful program is paying off.
Jack, it's probably 30 plus spaces. If you figure 10 by 20 per car,
yeah,
that's 200. Divide 200 into 7,500 and you get 30-ish.
Yeah, and
You need some aisles.
yeah, we need aisles, and also
Yeah,
we've got the entrance and exit that we may have to kind of reconfigure and figure
Plus
out.
that road is behind the
Yeah.
new savings bank, integrate that into it.
That's right.
the whole
So we
thing.
could get 40.
Yeah.
So we're going to need somebody to come in there and actually lay it out to get the most out of that space. So that was voted on and approved?
Yep.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Just a piece of a theater report.
What's that?
No, just, we're moving along with the
Oh,
purchase of
okay, yeah. Purchase of the seats.
Yeah.
The theater, we're still working on that. I just saw another seating plan the other day, and happy to say that we're not going to be losing, I think, maybe a dozen seats. And the reason why we may be we're losing even a dozen is because we're increasing our handicapped accessibility at the theater. Where right now the handicap space is all the way in the back of the theater. Now there's going to be some handicap spaces within the orchestra. So we're going to do that. Also, we have engineers looking at talking about the floor and reconfiguring. I don't know if anybody is aware of it, but there's a tunnel that runs from the back of the theater to the front of the theater. It's not something you could walk in, but it's for wires and cabling. And it's kind of inefficient, so they're going to be looking into a new way to do that, and new seats, flooring, and
Anything in the balcony area?
the seats are going to change. But
I think they're also going to make,
Some of the structural?
but also they're going to make it so some of the seats in the balcony are removable.
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to rent the whole balcony, there'd be
that's a great
space up
idea.
there for somebody to rent it and have a party and be part of,
Yeah, they were thinking of putting in a bar or some kind of like catering kind of area back there to do special events.
And I think, what John said, the first 3 rows in the front would be fit.
Maybe the first.
You could take those out.
Yeah.
If there was if Gateway was doing something where they needed that, I think, when they first opened the theater, they did something on ice, and they needed to come out. So I think there are going to be some things that are make it.
I think redoing the orchestra pit, because it's not adequate for some things, so they may be redoing the orchestra pit. So we're going to go in there and do.
What do you think the time frame is?
Well, we're starting
January
of next year. We have to do it in January because it's the quietest time of the theater. So the theater would have to be closed for at least a month. 2 weeks to rip out the seats.
I think it's about, because also they're going to redo the ceiling.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are, when we put the new roof on the theater, our plan was also to repair some of the water damage that was done. If you walk into the theater and you look up on the west side, there's damaged tiles there. But luckily, the people who did those ceilings kept the molds. So they just have to make a few more molds to put the ceiling. Yes, Mark?
I wouldn't say a month, because once they start opening where the wires are, it would be 3 months. Because
We
it doesn't
can't.
have to open up.
Well,
you don't know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, that's
100 years old.
Yeah, all that stuff, they're kind of working into the whole plan.
Floor itself, you got a problem with the floor.
Yeah, but the seats is the most important thing. We got to get the seats in there. A lot of those seats have to be about 40, probably close to 50 years old. They're more than 50 years old.
They go back to the 20s.
Yeah, and they're very inadequate. And the new seats are going to be 21 inches.
These are 18.
And these are 18 inches. So they're going to be a little bit wider, more comfortable, easier to maintain, easier to clean.
Yeah, cup holders?
All those things. No cup holders.
One of the things too is that with the, one of my concerns always is what is the impact on the tax dollar? And how do we do this so it has the least impact on the resident taxpayer? And starting in June, we'll be receiving $1 ticket, an additional $1 ticket. $1 ticket goes towards certain things now, but there'll be $1 ticket that's going to be set aside just for theater repairs and improvements. So they do, with Gateway, and with dealing with Gateway on it, it'll be about $90,000 to $100,000, because Gateway does about 40,000 people, maybe 35,000 people. So it'll be about $100,000 a year that will come to us, that will be then set aside. So these repairs will always be self-supported with that single dollar that we get. If we get between 90 and 100,000, we pay this down in 6 to 8 years. And so that's in terms of how we're going to pay it down. It's not going to be paid down for the guy living down on Cedar Avenue or up on Central Avenue or up on Little Boulevard. It's going to be paid for by the people that use the theater. There'll be a user fee that will upgrade it and allow us to do what we need to do and do it right.
And again, I have to commend the people who work at the theater and the volunteers who are at the theater. I was there on Saturday to see Willy Wonka Jr. And wasn't it fantastic?
It was very good, yes.
Those kids can really sing, couldn't they?
Yeah, they were good.
Holy smokes, I was so impressed. And tried to get into Del Fiore's after the 11 o'clock show was nearly impossible. So we had to go to Gino's.
Oh, okay.
We went to Gino's, which was excellent too. But they must have had about 800 people there. What show did you go to?
The 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Was it packed?
It was, yeah, it was really, yes.
Yeah. And that was Ovation's Dance Academy, and it was all kids. And they put on such a great show, and you know, these are the things that we forget about when you have a theater like that. And you know, everybody says, oh, how come you don't have this act or that act? Well, you know, go to a kids show there, and you walk out of that and you realize why we have the Patchogue Theater in the middle of downtown. Because I'm positive that a lot of those people, like myself, who went to that show, afterwards had something to eat in the village of Patchogue and spent their money here on Main Street. So again, congratulations to the theater, and please go to the website. There's a lot of good shows coming up. We have the Folk Festival coming up with two legendary folk people, Janice Ian and Tom Paxton. We have Chaz Pontieri is coming to do his one-man show, Bronx Tale. If you're not familiar with it, it's one of the best things you could ever see. It's a terrific show. And just a number of other great acts coming. Buckwheat Zydeco is coming in a few weeks. Who's that? Oh, the King, the Creole King.
New Orleans music.
New Orleans music. So celebrate Mardi Gras to Village of Patchogue at the Patchogue Theater. Anything else coming up, Joe? I know you.
I'm just hyped about Tom Paxton and Buckwheat right now.
Yeah, good, yeah. So please go to the website. There's a lot of great things coming up at the theater. They have our gala coming up in a few weeks with Ronan Tynan. We have Patty Lapone coming in, and the return of all our friends. Our friend Dominic Chianese is coming back. He hasn't been here in a few years, and he called us and asked to come back. So we're going to do a show with him. So keep an eye on it, and again, patchoguetheater.com and .org, I think. I think that's .org. Yes. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Is that all I have, Patty?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Mr. Keyes, Trustee Keyes.
Mayor, fellow trustees, ladies and gentlemen, just a couple things. Our PEP committee has set a date for a public forum, March 18th at the theater. Thank you, Linda Luzzi, anybody who happened to see the article in advance. The PEP committee will hold this educational informational forum.
What is the PEP committee?
The PEP committee is the Committee to Protect the Environment in Patchogue.
And how are we doing that?
So we don't have meetings, we have pep rallies, actually. We are going to do that, we're going to propose to start doing that by imposing a ban on single-use plastic bags. We've had several meetings in cooperation with the chamber. David Kennedy been extremely helpful. Several residents. We set the agenda for the forum with guest speakers, people who will have a lot of information that I think will be helpful in educating all the residents. The goal at this point is to set the public hearing for April 27th. So I imagine that between March 18th and April 27th, word will definitely be generated, and people have a much clearer idea of what our proposals are. As I said, it's the first step. The committee's pretty pumped about it and very progressive and cooperative. So along those lines, we both set, every now and then someone comes up and asks me about the single stream, getting involved in single stream recycling with the town. Joe and I kind of crunched the numbers. We met with Howard Carter, actually spoke with Brian about a few different items. My proposal or my suggestion would be to wait until our contract with the Carter ends, which is May of 2016, before we pursued any further, to try to amend the contract now. It might cost the village anywhere from $35,000 to $40,000. I don't think we should do that right now. So we are pursuing it, we are looking into it. It's not a dead issue. So for those of you who are curious, yes, we are checking it out. Just two quick proposals. One is to go out to bid for construction and installation of 30 pedestrian crosswalks throughout the village. These will be like the crosswalks that we see around the four corners now. And we're looking to have those, I think they're about $5,000 a pop. Is that right?
What's that?
Pedestrian crosswalk? Pedestrian crosswalk?
Yeah.
Somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 a pop. So we have about 30 locations. We would like to put them surround the whole, or as the mayor says, like to gift wrap the business district of the village. So that's requesting approval to go out to bid for construction and installation of that.
Motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Just one thing on the single stream. We use a private transfer station in Carter for our refuse. And it is appreciably less expensive for our general waste to be picked up by about $30 a ton. But part of that agreement is based upon the fact that we separate our recyclables. If we don't separate our recyclables, then that rate's going to go up. And when you balance it out, we save about $150,000 to $200,000 a year by being at the rate that we're at now. So it really is a financial decision that we have to make as to the convenience of putting your paper and your cans together, or the convenience of me looking out the window at my neighbor to see what he has so I know what to put out. That's the reason thank God the guy across the street knows, or I call Joe Dean at 6 in the morning and say, what am I putting out today? So, but it really is, and Joe indicated that there's a $35,000 to $40,000, but there also may be a greater number if they decide to change the amount.
Yeah, we were hopeful that it would be a lot less. I mean, if it was a matter of a few $1,000s, then I would propose that we do it because of the convenience, as you said. But I know the number's kind of high, and we have a good card and a good system with the card that we have right now.
But if there's a way we can make it next contract time with them.
Right, and that's what I suggest we visit it. We have to go out to bid again next year anyway, so that would be the time to address it, I think.
Yeah.
I'm requesting approval to hire Brian McCaffrey for the administration of the village's stormwater management program in an amount not to exceed $4,185 for the period March 2015 to March 2016. You have the proposal in your packets. Brian was literally a lifesaver for the village. The stormwater management program is something very tedious and difficult, a mandate of the EPA. That we learned the hard way. Might have been a little more for us to facilitate and handle ourselves here. We hired him to do just that, to bring all parties together, facilitate it all, to administrate it all. Remarkable results. I'd have to say that we're extremely pleased. And so I would suggest that we hire him again as my approval, so my request is.
Second.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
It's okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Felice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just have two quick things. I'd like to request approval to hire Anthony Camerari and James Lally as public safety officers at the rate of $16.40 an hour. This hire is being requested to strengthen the manpower during busy weekend shifts and to more equitably distribute hours within the department. So that's a motion to hire those two.
Second.
Okay? Aye. Okay.
And secondly, I have a request for Peter Sarich to attend the annual New York State Building Officials Educational Conference, which is scheduled for March 31st through April 3rd. The attendance of this conference satisfies the annual continuing education requirements for code enforcement officials. It's also a budgeted item, and the cost of the conference would include the tuition, the lodging, travel, and the meals, and that's approximately $1,350. So that's a motion to
Second.
have Peter attend.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's all I have tonight.
Mr. Mayor, fellow trustees, guests and residents, I have two quick things. First, I want to request approval to set a public hearing to amend Section 15-2 of Chapter 15 of the Village Code to add and remove certain parcels from the Business Improvement District. The Business Improvement District is a public entity with its own director and its own budget and its own tax. Industrial and commercial properties contribute funds to that and are administered by the bid. We've lost some participants, but Claire Rose is gone, Four Corners is on, so we just need to revise the code about where we're getting the money from.
Yeah, all the properties are listed in our code book under that section. So those the additions and deletions have to be made. It's really more housekeeping.
Correct.
Next board meeting is
March 9th?
March 9th. Motion, Trustee Ferb, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. Secondly, I want to request approval for the Patchogue Lions Club to hold the annual Independence Day Parade on Saturday, July 4th from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Very good.
I love talking about
They should have talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Trustee Devlin,
And calendar.
in fact, Trustee Devlin, you've been appointed to the, I understand, the Cultural Arts Advisory Board
Of Suffolk County.
of Suffolk County.
Yeah, I'll be appointed I think next week it goes before the Suffolk County Legislature.
Congratulations.
The Cultural Arts Advisory Board, they review all the grants that they fund with the hotel motel tax for cultural arts in Suffolk County.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Well, my question really becomes, does it hurt us to get money?
I think it'll help because I'll be behind the scenes to see the process.
And you'll know what's going on.
And I'll know what's going on,
Perfect.
and I'll be able to have input, not into my own grants, but I'll have to recuse myself on those. Yeah, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good for us. I think Dennis, you're on the...
That revitalization committee.
It's nice to have people places.
It is, it's very good. So I just have a couple of quick things. Just wanted to bring you up to date on our search for ARB members. We've had opening for a full member and an alternate, as I mentioned at the last meeting. So we are in discussions with a village resident to take the full position. I'll probably be able to make that announcement at the next meeting. But we are still searching for an alternate. So if you know anybody with creative mind or somebody who wants to donate their time in pursuit of beautification in the village, let me know.
I see 2 new residents sitting right there.
It's one meeting a month, and you get to review signage and facades in the downtown and help us make those decisions, work with the business owners. And then just a couple of other things. Last night, the Plaza Cinema had a fundraiser for their, Tom was there for part of the evening. They had the Oscar night. So they set the whole place up. They moved the chairs around, so they had tables and chairs and food and wine, and they have the whole Oscar thing up on the big screen, and they had raffles and photographs. It was a lot of fun. And just wanted to mention that Julianne Moore, who was the Best Actress in the movie Still Alice, that is playing at Plaza this week. So if you want to see an Oscar-winning film from last night's Oscars, you can see it this week at Plaza. And that's on their website at plazamac.org, their whole schedule. Just a couple of other things that came to mind when we were talking about the opening up New Village. Anytime, I know I've mentioned this to you before, but I'm not sure if we've actually done anything about it, but the four corners for pedestrians, the timing of those lights, you can stand there and push the button and it's like, it almost always says don't walk, and people get so frustrated and they step out just as they see the cars going, but they don't realize that the turn arrow is now bringing people in where they've just begun to walk, and I think it really needs an evaluation. We were waiting for New Village to be finished. It's finished.
Believe it or not, we had Johnson Electric take a look, and they claim, I'm glad you brought that up again, because it's been very frustrating that folk comes, and I agree with you. The lights
Anytime I'm in town, if I didn't know better, if I
Even that
was...
Johnson Electric tells us that they're working the way they're supposed to be. But
It's always been that way.
That they're not supposed to turn to walk, right? That they always stay there?
yeah, they stay at don't walk unless you push the button.
Right, but you push the button, and sometimes it's like you wait for such a long time.
Yeah.
And other times, when I've crossed from Budget Buy and Sell to O'Neill's, I'm halfway across and it's back to Don't Walk. I walk pretty fast. And I just observe other people who don't wait because they're waiting and then they see the cars go, so they step out. Yes, they're wrong, but they're frustrated. They step out, and then people are making a left, going westbound. I don't know, I think it's an accident waiting to happen. So, I don't know, but they looked at it and they said everything was fine.
Yeah.
Well, they're working in the manner that they're designed.
That they were designed to do, but it's not, yeah.
But it's
Maybe it
not-
needs to be reevaluated by somebody.
I don't even mean that, I mean, those were put in the better part of 30 years ago.
Yeah.
In that system, at that was hit the button and you walk or whatever.
Right.
The ones now, those aren't timed with the lights, the way they should be timed with the lights. So I think that what we need to do is take a look at that whole thing, bring in an outside engineering.
You know, I can reflect on it too because I travel around, and Huntington has all brand new intersections and all new lights, and you push the button and in a reasonable amount of time you get the walk and you walk, and it doesn't turn red before you get across.
Right.
It's a newer system than ours.
It is, and that's, I think, we have to look at.
Yeah, I think we need to look at that. So, so just that, and then just one last thing was I wondered, have we ever put the traffic and speed measuring sign on Jennings Avenue? Because we've had all this talk of speeding, you know the sign I mean? That
We had,
measures-
I'm gonna ask one, because I remember talking, was he here? Yeah, we had set that up a while back, I'm gonna check, I don't think it's there now. I know it was down for a while, but I remember that we did do that. I remember asking Joe to set that up over there.
Okay. Because I was just thinking
Yeah.
about it, when we were talking about all the speeding.
Yeah, I'll ask again, wouldn't have to say we're not doing anything right now.
No, that's all I have for this evening.
I want to add a couple of things, Lori.
Yes.
I mean, you were in Cancun getting...
Okay, thank you. Oh, that's right, you went to Art Space.
But on Saturday night, in Art Space, there was a celebration of Black History Month, and Jack got an award, a whole bunch of people got awards. Paul was there, Paul flew back from Colorado to get there. But it was really amazing to see these people who went to Patchogue Medford High School, who have been on Broadway for 30 years or 15 years. Guitar players from the Night Show who won Emmys, and stage designers who, I mean, just an incredible array of
Grammy winners,
Grammy winners, Emmy winners,
Where did
authors.
Tracy find them?
I don't know where Tracy finds them, but it was...
I know, I felt so inadequate.
It was really, and by the way, I made a
They were
joke.
the wizard, Jack.
What's that?
They never played the part of the wizard.
I made a joke that the fire marshal was going to come over and close us down because it was standing room only. I mean, you
I
couldn't.
heard it was a great night.
It was really a great night. And then Saturday they had The Tempest. I don't know how many Shakespeare fans. It was the best Tempest I ever saw in my
I love The
life.
Tempest.
Absolutely fantastic. And Plaza Mac, you know, they're trying to raise $60,000. And I don't know what part of it, but they bought the chairs, okay? I don't know how much they're paying for the chairs, but they come from California. But I want to say they're halfway to their 60 grand,
Yeah, that's what she said last night after you left, that they raised 30,000 of the 60,000 campaign.
but they ordered the
So they
chairs.
ordered the chairs, and there's, the rest of the money they're raising is for a marquee. Because a lot of people don't realize that they're in that building. Even when they come to 20 Terry Street, they go, okay, where's this theater?
You're going to have 84 really comfortable chairs that you can lean back in with a cup holder. It's a great week for culture at the theater and so on.
Every week is a good week for culture.
Pretty amazing.
It is.
That's it. Thanks.
Mr. Hilton, are you with us?
Yes.
Trustee Hilton.
Yes, I'm with us. Thank you.
He's advocating for the trustees lounge at the
I was
theater.
thinking about the culture part of it. Mr. Mayor, fellow trustees, guests, a couple weeks ago, there was a public meeting for the Tuttle Creek Watershed Management Plan that the town of Brookhaven, in partnership with the village of Patchogue, I'm just going to read briefly, will prepare a watershed management plan for Tuttle's Creek, a tributary of the South Shore Estuary Reserve. The development of a watershed management plan will directly implement recommendations from the South Shore Estuary Reserve Comprehensive Management Plan. Tuttle's Creek discharges into Patchogue Bay, which is listed on the New York State 303D list of waters impaired by bacterial contamination causing year-round closures of shellfish beds. The development of a management plan for Tuttle's Creek watershed will serve as a long-term strategy for the protection and restoration of water quality and ensure compatible land use and development. Work will include a complete inventory of stormwater infrastructure, including catch basins, connecting pipes, and outfalls. This information will be delineated and mapped. In addition, land use and how it pertains to ecological communities will be assessed. Ecological communities, species of concern, and invasive species populations will be delineated and mapped. Finally, secondary objective of this project is the design of an open space trail segment located within the delineated watershed. This trail will bring a new recreational opportunity to the community and be developed with input from local residents. This is something that the mayor knows, some of others know that I've been working on probably for the last 20 years.
The day I met you, you
Yeah.
told me about this.
And so, this is a fantastic opportunity for us to address another one of our creeks. We did Swan Creek, Commons River, and one of the last large dead areas in the bay are opposite Tuttle and Quarry Creek. So,
Really?
yeah. And so I'm really looking forward to just see what kind of information comes into it. Tuttle Creek, the headwaters are, believe it or not, north of Sunrise Highway. I don't know if you remember the old pig farm on Waverly Avenue, which is now the assisted living.
Yeah, Henry's place.
Right, exactly, and the farm stand, one of my favorite places. And that is the area, the IRS has a very big building there, there's a couple of large developments, and that contribute to this watershed.
Well, isn't there a culvert on that road going to Home Depot?
I was just going to say that by Burger King.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right. behind
Yeah,
Burger
and it's
King.
also a huge, what do they call it, squatters community in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is a project that I'm very excited about, and I'll continue to bring up updates on it. The mailing list that just included, or not just, but residents within a certain distance of the creek. If anybody would like to have, that does not live within that area, I forget what it was, but it was pretty close to the creek. A lot of people didn't know about it. You can email me at whilton@patchoguevillage.org, and I will make sure that you get on the mailing list. So I'm very excited about that.
I think one of the things we've done, Bill, haven't we put those inserts into the stormwater drains?
Yeah, the filters.
The filters?
Yeah.
The small things that we can do on our own.
Oh, we've done a lot, and I was discussing with John that actually the water samples that were taken around Little Creek and the Patchogue River came out excellent.
That's because of all the work.
Yeah, all the work we've done. The Swan River is miserable, but
Really?
hopefully what they've done by the old car dealership, you know, will help that a
Filter
lot.
that out, yeah.
And it's funny that last meeting, we voted for an out-of-sewer district for the apartment buildings behind the old Harborside or CVS.
Yeah, there's the nursing home back in there.
Right, exactly, that will include, because it was all pathogens.
Yep.
In the water. So I think that things are really looking up as far as the bay. And that's great news to a lot of us who've been here for a while. And made a livelihood on the bay for a while. So it's great news. I'm going to keep reporting on it. Moving on.
John Bell's
What's that?
Is John Bell's on that committee also?
You know, John's like in and out.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a computer, so... you
But
know.
he can figure out where the trail goes.
Oh, John and I, we spent a lot of time, in fact, one time we took
He was gonna
a
take a
board out of the dam.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
John fell out of the canoe and I pulled him back in by his, it was a lot of fun. And he's
Taking him up on
a
that.
wealth of information as far as the headwaters
Really cool.
up in that area and the checkerboard, the old Brooklyn, what was the newspaper? Eagle? No.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Eagle gave out subscription awards.
He gave you lots.
Yeah, they gave out 1 foot by 1 foot lots with every subscription to the newspaper, and most of it is up behind the old movie theater.
But also right next to
Yeah, behind your house.
Yeah.
Right. And there's thousands of them.
What a strange
They're
concept.
still on the rolls. I know.
Do they pay taxes?
I have no idea. No idea. These are some of the things that have to be worked out, and it's why a lot of people really had not wanted to get involved in this, but the time has come.
Jim's just the man to do it.
Steve, email?
Excuse me?
Steve? Did
Steve?
you contact?
From where?
You go.
Yes. Thank you. Yep.
We actually have control of some kind of water authority property, don't we?
Yes, well, we don't have control, they call it the water tower
Yeah.
park. It goes from the ambulance
Right.
on Montauk Highway
Down the-
south to the spur, to the railroad.
No, before, Bill still has,
Yes.
Bill Underwood still has property,
Yes.
I think.
And we were actually going to buy that for $1. Remember,
Yeah.
years ago.
Steve Jones came in.
Right. And, but we found out there's a lot of buried tanks. That was the end of the line at
That's
one
right,
point.
yeah.
And there's a ton of buried tanks in there. And also, we weren't able to get the driveway to it, so I'm sure that offer still stands.
Yeah, why?
But that's a beautiful area in there. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to request approval for the new interdisciplinary school to hold their walkathon/family wellness day on Sunday, April 19th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. with a rain date requested for April 25th. This is at Shorefront Park, and it's in conjunction with the YMCA, with the 5K that they're having, which starts at 9. Logistically, it's going to be tough, but they've insisted that they keep these two events on the same day. We'll have to see how it goes. It's going to be a little work for us, but it should go well.
For those that don't know, the new interdisciplinary school is a preschool for handicap up in Yaphank on Route 101. Been there for about 1994 is when they built that building, but they've been around since the mid-70s. Have about 150 kids, 160 kids, ages, actually infant through age 5.
Yeah, it's been around a while.
Yeah.
That was a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to request approval for Club Tacoma to hold the annual St. James Festival on Sunday, July 26th, from 1:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the municipal parking lot adjacent to Bravo Market. Last year we worked with them. They have requested to close down Academy Street to Tyler Lane. What is it, Taylor?
Taylor.
And of which we did last year, and that went well. The only thing that I have a problem with is if they're asking for assistance for security. If the letter asks if the village code enforcement can stop in by the event to make sure everyone is secure and safe. Last year, I believe Mr. Sarich had them have their own security.
Yeah, and we'll talk to Jimmy also.
Right.
Just so you know, this is the St. James Festival is the Ecuadorian, used to be Lucero Foundation ran it, and at the same time, they hold 12 o'clock Mass in Wallace Air, Ecuador, where most of the families are from. At the same time, they'll be holding the 12 o'clock Mass here at St. Francis. And then they have, and we remember the St. Librado, that they have the statue, and you put the dollar bills on the statue, and they walk the statue down to behind the Broadway Market. But they do it exactly the same time in their hometown as they do here, and it's, I think, very similar to what the Italians did here back in the 30s, 40s, 50s when we were growing up. So it is a traditional. 30s, 40s when I show up, and the 50s when you show up. You chose the 50s, right?
Just smile and nod.
So that's what that is. It's not just the same. There's more to it than there's a traditional piece to it that goes along with it. I think there was a motion second.
Second.
That was a motion.
All in favor? Aye. Carried.
And Mr. Mayor, I'd like to request approval for the Kiwanis Club of Patchogue to hold the annual 5K Santa Toy Trot on Sunday, December 6th. The annual event.
It's at a short-front party.
Yeah, short-front park. That's a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
That's all I have for tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
I know that you talked a little bit earlier about, one of the concerns we've had with the big snowstorm that we had. We really begin to have to, can't address it as much this year because, the snow's on the sidewalks. But we really have to start taking a look at how we're going to manage that. We've done some plowing, and we've done it on South Ocean I guess it's on the west side. But we're really going to begin to talk to homeowners about, sidewalks are great to have, streets are great to have. But putting people on sidewalks is better than putting people on streets. So I know it's the problem that you have, and it also happened to all of us. We shovel, plow comes down the street, and what you just shovel ends up back in again. So, but I think it's just something that we really need to address.
Yeah, I believe that it's our responsibility to prevent the people from walking on the roads. River Avenue is just horrible.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you bringing that up.
Any other comments from the public? Mr. Sullivan? So is retirement treating you well?
Yes, very. It's been fun, yes.
I'm glad to hear that.
Gail Hoag, 345 Phyllis Drive, Patchogue. First of all, I'd like to thank you very much for purchasing that piece of property for the Church Street lot.
All right.
Our church will greatly appreciate it. There are times we have services, we have different concerts. We have Baffa, we've had the Messiah, we've had Salvation Army, and there's just no parking for people to attend. And we do appreciate every spot that becomes available.
Hopefully there'll be more soon.
Thank you. But then I did have one comment about the parking, the kiosk. I finally, this past week, put some coins in the one behind the library. It's my first time using the parking meter there. After 6 o'clock, we were there for a 6:30 program, and it was dark. I can read the screen, but I couldn't find what I was supposed to be pushing. It wasn't a problem of safety in the lot itself, but it's just by the kiosk. It was hard to see, I didn't even have that big green button. Once I use it, I'm sure it'll be automatically, you'll know where to put it, but anybody coming for the
I'm glad you
first
brought
time.
that up, because I forgot all about that. We're looking into right now, Joe Keyes and Joe Dean are looking into solar lighting for over the space. So that whole area will be lit, and it's good because it'll signal a spot, so people are looking for a space. So we're working on getting that all figured out.
Good, thank you. And then one question about where you have the kiosk. You still have a number in that spot.
Yeah, that should come out. There shouldn't have been a number in there.
It is, it's actually, I think it's like 517.
Which one? The one in the little pocket area by the
library.
They might have put the number in there as a mistake.
look like it.
Yeah, maybe all by the kiosk, all should be striped so people know not to pull in.
They should, yeah. Most of them don't face a space.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the only one we have.
Yeah, I think that's the only one we have.
Sure, the one I use.
Were you in that space? Were you parking in that space?
No, I was right next to it. That's how I could figure out what my number was by.
I think the only one who could park in there is Tom.
Except I can't get it out of the garage.
But yeah, we'll take care of that, but the lighting should be, I don't know, you know where Joe is on that, Joe?
No, but I wrote myself in the
Okay.
I haven't talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to put solar lighting in there and keep with our, it's a lot.
It was really hard. Luckily, I had my 6-year-old granddaughter with me, and she has used parking meters with her father, so she knew exactly where I should put them. So once I, knew that she helped. And I had another question. Some people have been asking me, they don't understand the signs going into the parking lot. And when you say into the stalls and the metered parking, at the bottom it says no parking like from 9:30, before 9:30 a.m. Is that only for the stalls that you,
Yes, that's
for the metered spots only?
Well, let me think. It's all in the metered spots, yeah. Behind, there are some spaces there that what's happening, well, this is really done at the request of store owners, where employees or store owners are taking all the spots and filling all those spaces.
You remember the conversations?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't have to explain it to you. And it's pretty much only the metered spots. Maybe in a couple areas it isn't, that's really close to the stores, like Bill said, behind Del Fiore. The store or the restaurant?
The store.
The store, that's right. Yeah, there are some back there too, because a lot of employees were parking in those spaces.
Okay, because I see the large blue signs in the Church Street lot, and that's where people were asking me about those. At the bottom of the blue, I think the blue.
Those big giant blue signs?
Yeah, those.
No,
down the bottom it says no parking, I think, before 9:30 a.m.
I think it doesn't say that, Joe?
Yeah.
I'm
No
not sure.
parking from 4 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. or?
That's only in the
But that's standard in the village anyway.
Yeah.
I'll
I
have to
saw
check.
that the other
Okay.
day. I was curious.
It was-
Like, what is that?
Yeah, it was
Well, you know what?
a business owner who asked me, who's having trouble to understand the
It's
signs.
funny you said it, Joe. She may be correct, because I saw that when we were doing the signs, and I asked to take it off because it wasn't. And I think the one on Oak Street is correct, and that one may be wrong.
It's the one, I think there are two in Church Street. I know when I go in off South Ocean, that one
Yes,
says it.
you may be right. Yeah, because
So the Oak Street lot was right. I didn't see the ones at Church Street.
yes,
The ones I saw was on-
Oak Street lot I believe is
Check
correct.
Terry Street, because I think that's where I saw.
Because what we put on there, read signs for other restrictions or something. We kind of made it a kind of a
Jack's telephone number.
Yeah.
But it was in the Church Street lot,
Yes,
and
I
I know, and it's a business owner.
I was there this morning and I actually read it.
Okay.
Yeah, the only sign I seen was the one at Oak Street. I didn't look at those yet, so okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gail.
Okay.
Dennis, Mr. Ross.
A couple things. First, thank you for the honor of being in the meeting.
We missed you.
Yeah, work schedule's been crazy.
So something about work and food and eating.
I know, life wants new things, so what I do. On the village meters, if we remove the lot step, when you have to put in what lot you're in, the 87001, will that free up data room to make them talk to each other? That also seems to confuse a lot. They have no idea where they're standing, that they're standing in lot 87. And isn't the whole village 8701?
No, each lot has a different number.
No, we're in parking zone 8007 by the app.
Oh, I think that,
Yeah, the app is 701.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that the street,
And that,
yeah.
and somehow you can get to that app, that screen.
Yeah.
And that throws a lot of people off. They don't know where they're, I don't know how you, and I just tell them can't stop and start over and help them go backward because I don't know how you get out of that. But that seems,
See, I've never had that problem.
I don't know how they get to it, but I've seen it on the screen. You got to put it in that, 8701 number.
Doesn't it say it right on the meter, what?
Yeah, on the side.
Yeah,
It tells
says
you
it on
that.
the meter, right.
But I don't know how they got to that phase. But I mean, since the entire village is that way, couldn't the program already automatically know that and free up data? Usually that's how data works. If you get rid of something, this one moves faster. Okay.
I don't want to assume anything
Yeah.
with how they work, so we'll check it out.
And I thought TriTech was giving us a new light at the Four Corners as part of their original, they stood here and talked about.
The new what?
Replace the Four Corners light.
Oh, I don't know.
If we go back to several meetings, we'll find that was part of their.
What, traffic light?
Yeah, that Four Corners, they were gonna upgrade that Four Quarters light.
I know that they were going to do the Oak Street light. I don't remember a discussion about the Four Corners. We could look.
Yeah, let's go back to
I do remember Oak Street, and they did that.
Village Concerns was, the light, but I think that was part of what they originally proposed as the village
Could be,
8 years ago. But I mean, yes, I understand.
Well,
Either way.
We'll take a look in their original approvals.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be in their original approvals.
And Capital One charging us $94,000 for that vacant lot for all the free advertising they get. I just feel that was
What free advertising?
the parades, kiosk, the New Year's Eve, Baldock is at the Capital One. They grandstands. for the
Actually, they don't
parade.
own it.
They don't own it. It's not theirs. It
It's
wasn't
not,
theirs.
oh, okay.
It's not theirs. It's, the
Sports Hall of Fame.
yeah.
Oh.
And you know, Dennis, business is business.
Yeah, I understand, but I think they're forcing us to set a dangerous precedent for square footage price. For $97,000 for a vacant lot, what are the houses gonna cost us now?
Well, no.
You know what I mean?
That's what our negotiations are right now.
Yeah, that's.
It wasn't, Capital One only had a reverter interest in the original purchase. You gotta go way back to when that was Union Savings Bank, and when that collapsed in 1987, and subsequent banks became North Star,
Right.
Home Federal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Keep going to North Fork. North Fork decided to close that building permanently and sold it to, or donated it to Suffolk County Sports Hall of Fame. One of the conditions was that they would hold a reverter on that teller station, that it would never be used as a teller station, only by them in perpetuity. So they had that's why they couldn't even sell that property to anyone, because they had that right of re-entry by the bank to use it as a teller whenever they wanted, even though it was totally empty. So every time that they ever thought to sell it, Capital One says, oh, we have a plan to put a teller back in there. So that kept coming back all the time, and we were able to convince Capital One that we were going to commit this to the managed parking program, put it into the parking fields. Then with that, they said, okay, we'll release our right of reverter.
Okay.
But the sale is actually to Sports Hall of Fame.
Okay, that's, I just thought, like I said, Capital One does get a lot of free press throughout the village, throughout the year. And I thought that was kind of bad on their part, but
they're good. They're
yeah. Oh, but they just had a right, they didn't have a stake in it.
No, they had a stake in it, they had a significant stake in it, but they weren't the owner.
Okay.
The title owner is the Suffolk Sports Hall of Fame. That's who is the seller. The village is the buyer, and the Sports Hall of Fame is the seller.
Okay, like I said, that's quite a number there for what we obtained. It's
a good sign that the village property in the village is worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now you gotta negotiate that against that for those next three houses? Come on.
But part of that value is, Brian, maybe you could explain, it was a buildable lot out to the lot line. So the value for someone who wanted to build was a lot.
Oh, that wasn't buildable? That was buildable?
Yeah,
And
it's the property line.
that unusual lot is in the D5 business district. So if you remember, just a couple meetings ago, we had a D5 change where the property owner on Waverly Avenue voluntarily sought application to upzone the property. The State Farm case that came in, that was a D5 business location, which would have allowed a gas station or one of those uses there. And with the setbacks, they would have been able to build right to the property lines.
So they could technically have built a 23,000 square foot building, to kind of 3 stories, it's $7,500 square feet per story.
Virtually has a break.
With no obligation to parking, no obligation to anything.
Yeah, would have been a worse impact.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I was reading the Capital One, only, you know, that's only information I don't have. Your back, you know.
Dennis,
that was-
That's what I want to give you, yeah.
Capital One is actually a pretty decent corporate citizen.
That's
You
what
know, the plaza that they let us use belongs to them. They're paying insurance on that for all those events. I mean, I know they get 2,000 people in front of the bank who are having a good time on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
I just thought it was odd that they're for that price, but I understand there's a lot more, you know, we don't get that information.
Yeah, the value.
You know, and like you said, that building. Also, the trash dumpsters in Church Lot. This is, I don't know how this, where this falls, I might have to go clear to code. Because they couldn't get the gates open, those things, you know, the patrons then just threw everything all over the place, now nobody's cleaning up. If we could.
Is it somewhat cleaned up now? Because I know Joe's doing that.
The first three stalls are still stacked with baggage that needs to get, because those drivers are not going to get out of their trucks, put it in the containers. That's our responsibilities as the owners of those canisters. But it's not being done. It's now the wildlife has moved in there, even in this weather.
Hey, Joe, get a hold of Joe and tell us, get it cleaned out tomorrow morning. Get down there with a payload and just clean it up and open up so they can get into those gates.
We're also working on some ideas of how to consolidate those dumpsters, put them in a different place.
If we can at least cut the bottom of those gates off or raise them 6 inches so that they're always, I mean, they got to plow the lot, that's a given. And the snow's going to go someplace. If we can raise those gates or cut the bottom of those gates by 6 or 8 inches, there really is no ice over the bottom of a gate, and they'll always be able to free swing, and the drivers can do their job. That was where the problem came in. They were unable to open the gates during the snow removal. You know, every year we're not going to get the snow. We've got the last 2, but we are going to get it again.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know if there's any room to move them up or have them cut to, 12 inches off of the bottoms of them.
Talk to Peter, have Peter get a hold of Joe Brandy, have Brandy talk to them about raising the gates.
Raising the gates, okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that's the end of my, I think everything else got covered.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. Good seeing you again.
Yes.
George?
George Hoag Brick House Brewery. Let me just make formal something we've had private conversations about. But the Tritech lot, I understand, is now owned by the village, is that correct?
Yes.
And it has a number of deficiencies. The major one is no handicap access to Main Street.
I've talked to Joe about that in the springtime when we'll be addressing that.
Some of the handicap spots don't make much sense in terms of overall use of that lot. There are a number of 30-minute spots that don't make much sense. So I understand you're going to review that lot.
We have the business hours to control that.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
But in terms of the handicap, that handicap ramp, that'll be taken care of in springtime.
So there should be a handicap spot in front of the brick house, and not as far away from the brick house door as you can get.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You got it.
Thank you.
Yep. Mr. Cassidy?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask, with all the bad weather we have had, have the garbage men just...
Doing everything they can do to pick up the garbage.
Well, they've been missing mine for quite a few times.
Missing the regular pickup or?
Yeah. Yes, and the recycle pickup.
The recycle pickup.
Do you want the cans at the curbside now?
Just recycle.
In this weather? I mean...
If you could. What's your address on James?
68.
Would you miss the regular pickup in consecutive time?
What day you get pick up?
The what days that we, obviously, the blizzard, 2 foot, obviously, we get it on like a second.
About a week.
Do you get Monday pickup?
Well, I hope they...
No, you're a Tuesday, you're a Tuesday.
I mean, I'm sorry, Tuesday pickup?
Your Tuesday, Friday pickup?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I am. And I think you guys, we suspended like last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because of this-
Yeah, we have been
Yes.
spending use once on the regular, use
Yeah.
once on the recycle, but,
All right, I'd like to know if you could
I mean,
consider...
if they were consecutive, they shouldn't be consecutive regulars, but.
All right, I'd like to know if you could consider make-up Saturdays. You know,
Well,
because,
I was thinking if we missed both days, and then we might consider on about one day.
well... it's
The
just
other thing is, that a makeup Saturday works if it's a Thursday or a Friday close down. It doesn't make any sense if it's Monday, because you're gonna get picked up Thursday or Friday.
Overtime.
Yeah, plus overtime.
Mr. Kemp, if you,
No, if they have one day off, if it's real bad...
They don't have, they're not plowing.
No, right, they're not off.
They're not off, they're plowing. That's, the reason you don't have it is that manpower goes from picking up garbage to driving snow plows. They become part of the shovel crews that hand shovel out the alleys.
All
So
right.
it's not, I wish it was that way, but it's not that way.
All right, now...
Mr. Kemp, can I
you
just
brought up-
answer to that for you? If you ever have a missed garbage day, we always keep a late guy on, so you call Village Hall.
Okay.
What time does your garbage normally come by? on a regular
I
day?
never know, they
Okay.
come all different
Well,
times.
if you know that they missed you for whatever reason, if you called here during, like, before 3 o'clock,
Okay.
we can always dispatch somebody over to pick up your
It's
garbage.
still
It's
different
very
times, you mean,
nice.
some weeks, I'm sorry, Patty.
That's okay.
You say they come all different times, you mean sometimes they may come at 7 in the morning, next week they come at 2 in the afternoon?
Yeah,
For
that's,
years and years, I could count, 7:30 in the morning, they would come around. But the last 5 or 6 years, I never know what time they come. Sometimes at 9:30, sometimes they come in the afternoon, sometimes the truck goes one way, sometimes it's going the other way, so I never know.
No way.
I never know what to do.
Anything else, Mr. Kemp?
They're pretty regular.
Yes,
I just
you
have to say
mentioned
that, excuse me,
recycle.
Mr. Kemp, can I just say something? I just want to tell, say to Mr. Keyes that they're pretty regular
Yeah,
at my house. They come
Thank you.
before 8 a.m.
They have about a 20-minute swing at my house too,
Yeah.
they are.
That big, yeah.
It's like on my second cup of coffee, I hear the gate open the door, it's the same time every day.
Well, all right, my second observation, and you mentioned recycling. And this is something that I observed in Peru and in New York City. There are garbage trucks that have 2 compartments in them. And this is something that I observed in the country of Peru, where they do have recycle day and garbage day. That even with that, when it's a garbage pickup, the garbage men actually rip open the bags and sort it out further, because a lot of people are up in the air. Is it garbage? Is it recyclable? So they just throw it in the garbage. The garbage men actually ripped open the bags and sorted it out themselves, and the 2 hands of the garbage truck, they toss it in
And they do this
whatever.
at the curb that they pick the bag up?
Yes.
In front of your house, the garbage man would be picking your garbage bag apart?
As the truck is going down the road, you see him ripping the bags open, going through it all. The rubber gloves on and everything. That's on top of 2 pickups, one for recyclables and one for garbage. They still want to further go through it.
Well, doesn't that go on at the plant that it goes to? We have like state-of-the-art
I think
plants
they'll have to
and
look at the
stuff.
values.
Like the
Yeah, but I
town
believe-
Brookhaven's plant, they but they go places where they do that, where they further separate. Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe you pay more per ton. If you recycle it before you go to the
But
recycling
then that's
bin.
more manpower, so you have to weigh that manpower cost of the additional time. I don't know.
All right, well, maybe our mayor could address this. I'm certain that when you get to the recycle bin, or the place where they accept it, there are different rates for garbage versus recycling.
Absolutely.
Okay, my point is, if it's further going through, by village employees before it ever gets to the recycle plant, you may reduce the cost to get rid of this stuff.
Something we can look at, but it's a manpower issue.
Okay.
I can't imagine the guys having the time to go through anything. I mean, they're running all over the place, picking the stuff up, putting in these 5,000-gallon drums, and racing after the trucks. There's no time.
Patchogue village employees do not run. They do not.
Well, they don't run. They move fast.
No, they don't. They take
Okay,
their time.
that's your street.
Come on. It's getting late.
All right.
I should have said it.
Trustee Devlin brought up about crosswalks. I have a suggestion that I have seen in Manhattan and in Peru. Timers on crosswalks. They have an actual clock that counts down.
That's what we're saying about hours being so
Well, that's
outdated.
the suggestion. That's what I have.
Good to see you back, Mr. Kemp.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, second.
All in favor?
First, second.